Cellar doors and restaurants unfortunately have closed, but online wine deliveries is booming. I'm joined now by Philip Gregan, CEO of New Zealand Winegrowers. Philip, what is the sort of general feeling amongst your wine industry members at the moment in the uncertain times?
I think there's a huge sense of relief that we have been able to get the grapes in, but there's also awareness that there's a huge responsibility that's coming with that, and a large degree of empathy for those parts of the economy that aren't able to operate at the moment. So there's some mixed feelings there.
So how have you implemented advice to the harvest and around the obviously restriction of movement of workers, but also in how they can harvest, alongside each other in the vines at the moment?
Well, we've been working very, very closely with MPI. We've been in contact with them virtually daily. We've been issuing guidance to the industry about how they manage distance and social separation. And we've had literally hundreds of queries coming from our members around the country. And we're triaging those, and the really difficult ones, we go back to MPI and seek their guidance, and then we get that information out to the industry.
How is the labour force? Are you needing more workers to come in?
No, at the moment we're quite comfortable with the labour force available for us to harvest. A lot of the grapes are actually machine harvested, so we're very lucky in that way. But there are some areas which rely heavily on hand harvesting, so Central Otago, for example, lots of hand harvesting in the Wairarapa.
Have you had Riesling between your toes, Philip?
Not this year, no. Plenty of Riesling in North Canterbury, of course, and Waipara.
Oh, it is the weirdest feeling. I tell you that. Everybody's got to do that once. And so, what about with regards to going international markets? Being New Zealand's such a rock star, are you concerned about the impacts flowing back?
Look, the impacts we've seen so far in terms of sales through supermarkets have been very, very positive, very strong. But clearly there's a lot of damage being done to the hospitality sector, the restaurant sector, and that's going to lead to difficulty with distributors paying their bills, with importers paying their bills. So there's a lot of concern how this is going to play out over the next 3 or 4 months, and we can see a lot of hard times coming ahead.
So what sort of financial planning can your members be doing to be able to get through this time, or is it very still unclear on how they can shift a lot of this product?
We've just carried out a survey of our members, and it's clear from that they're anticipating pretty hard times, a large number of them. A number of them have already applied for the government's wage subsidy. That's going to be clearly very important. And we're looking at other things that we might be able to do to make some suggestions to the government as to how they can help our members through the next 3 months and get going again at some stage.
Wine being a product that obviously doesn't date straight away, is like for instance wool, but obviously not as long as wool. The shelf life of wine, does that help ease the burden over, say, for instance, livestock?
Yes, I think it does. The wine doesn't have to be sold tomorrow. It can be sold over a period of time. But the challenge, of course, is there'll be another vintage next year, and so we need to move the product in a reasonable time frame. Otherwise, that gives rise to capacity issues in vintage 2021. So it's only 12 months away.
And it's okay if you've got those aging wines, but those young wines like Sauvignon Blanc, which is, of course, underpins a lot of New Zealand's wine industry, doesn't it? Where yes, the big crunch comes.
Yes, those wines generally are sold within a year of vintage. There are the exceptions, but then you've got wines such as Pinot Noir, Cabernet Merlot and Syrah, which can be sold over a longer period of time. So the challenge is not quite as much with them.
What is What was the trajectory looking like pre-COVID, sort of end of 2019, when we thought 2020 was going to be the major year that we were all looking for? Wine was on a good trajectory, wasn't it, internationally?
Yes, look, we consumers around the world love our wines, and that's been the story of the last 10 or 20 years, and we saw 2020 being no different. And underlying everything that's happened is consumers still want our wines. The difficulty is having the channels open so that they can purchase them. And whether that's the cellar door in New Zealand or a restaurant in Queenstown or a restaurant in New York or London, it's having those channels open, which is the thing that the industry is going to be missing.
How is e-commerce set up internationally? I know that we're set up very well here domestically to be able to buy and order wine online. But your international distributors to be able to put New Zealand wines forward for the stay-at-home e-commerce market, which could become a huge part of our future.
Yeah, the online sales are absolutely booming at the moment. There are one or two countries with very strange rules, such as the United States, because we have alcohol in our product, so that slightly complicates things. But yes, there's a big opportunity online, and our wineries are really working very hard to take advantage of that at the moment.
So harvest is obviously underway, and generally, on some positive note, you're quite happy with how the flavour profiles and, of course, the yields are looking?
Look, if it wasn't for the virus, everybody would be saying this is one of the best vintages we've ever had. But at the moment, it's the virus that's dominating the conversation, and rightly so. Hopefully in 6 months' time, people are going to say, wow, that was pretty amazing. We had a great harvest. And the way things are shaping up, our winemakers are very confident, but only time will tell.
Thank you so much, CEO of New Zealand Winegrowers, Philip Gregan, joining us there on Ceres Country to talk about the situation that's happening to one of our golden children of our export markets, our wine industry. They've done an incredible job in being able to show the rest of us how to add value over volume and where they're sitting in the international stage.
This is Ceres Country.